Have you ever wondered how we put a lift on a shoe on the outside of the shoe? Well, I had a lift that I had to put on recently, so I videotaped most of the process, and I will show you how I put that lift on today. Because I've already cut this shoe, I unfortunately can't show you how I cut it, but I just use a simple bandsaw like this. I take the shoe onto its side, and then I usually grab a block or something to keep everything stable, so when I feed the shoe through the band, it stays level. So turn the bandsaw on, and then I just feed it through the shoe, and then that will cut the shoe right in half there. So I have the cut shoe here, and I have the material I want. So this is about 12 millimeters thick. So I want to use this to glue onto the shoe. I put the shoe onto the material, traced around where I wanted the material, and now I'll cut that out and then I'll glue it onto the bottom of this shoe. So now I have my glue pot and all the materials I need. So what I'll be doing is gluing this from the glue pot. Now that the first coat has dried, I'll be putting another coat on it, just because this will be going through different types of weather conditions. I want to make sure that it stays glued onto the shoe as well as possible. So put a second layer on to help stick together. I did put glue onto both sides of the material. It was just harder to videotape me gluing this side because I have to hold it with the other hand. So just in the lab here, that noise that you were hearing before when I was gluing, that's really just it takes all the glue fumes out of the air because we don't want to be smelling that while we're gluing. Now that both sides are glued, I will be putting this in the oven. What heating in the oven does is it does a couple things. One, it activates the glue so that it sticks a little bit better, and it also makes the material pliable. It can move a lot better so that it can mold all of the shapes of the bottom of the shoe. So as you can see, this material can move a lot better, so it'll be much easier to glue, to press onto the shoe. Put a bit of heat. Just press all the sides down. That makes to make sure that they don't come, it doesn't delaminate. So what I did there is I took all the excess material off. Now there's still a little bit left around the edges. I usually leave that until the very end, until everything is off, and then I go once around the whole shoe to make sure that everything is flush, and that means it doesn't take off too much of the detailing there. What I also started to do is I took a little bit of material off of the front. That's because I put a little bit of a heel to it, and that just helps when you're pushing off, when you're walking. Now, I'm not done yet. I have the, I might not, yeah, it looks like this point is a little bit too far back, but I just did a rough job to help the process along a little faster. And there's the finished product. So there's that extra lift on the back of the shoe compared to the other one. Just like that. So what you didn't see is gluing on the second layer of that shoe plus the actual sole on the shoe. It's the same process as the first layer. You just keep adding the layers on, you put on the final layer of the shoe. I usually put some holes inside the shoe as well. It just makes it a little bit lighter because you're putting a lot of material on it. So you take a little bit of material off by putting some holes in it. Doesn't affect the structure of the shoe. It just makes the shoe a little bit lighter. But that's a little bit about how we put a lift on a shoe. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and I would be happy to help.